Hello everybody, welcome back to another video for today. So, we're continuing onward with the channel's new intro project. If you saw the last video, we were just gathering some of the materials, some of the basic clips we were going to need. Well, now it's the real deal. We are actually going to move forward with this project and actually make the graphics. After trying dozens and dozens of filters and trying to see what stuck, I have now found what stuck. And I'm going to show you how I created it. I wrote everything down on paper, so now I have references. Yes, it does take up a lot of work. And let's jump right into it. You're going to be staring at a KineMaster screen for quite a while, so I will be providing timestamps in the video. But as you can see, I'm adjusting the brightness on this blue background. I've got it up to 35. Don't know where I'm going to go from there, but I've updated the contrast and saturation next, all the way up to 100. Anything else? Nope. Alright, so that's what the background looks like so far. And actually I am going to shrink the contrast down. I don't think I need it. And instead I'm going to update the shadows. So now I've added in the channel logo animation which you saw from last video. I am playing it in reverse using a little bit of a tool. Now you can see we are going to use a filter, so that way you still have the background. I chose the screen filter, which just gets rid of the black background and has the logo become lighter, updating the contrast. And it does look a little dim. I want the colors to be exaggerated, so I might have to change the filter. We've also turned down the volume so you won't hear the intro May audio. And I'm going to trim out the part where the logo zooms up at the beginning. The logo's supposed to stay like that on screen when the intro begins. So that's what we have so far. Logo zooms up to the screen. Anything else I need to do? No. Here's the MLG Dude shot. That's the next thing we're going to add in. First off, I am going to change the speed. That way he's walking a little slower. And that's a little too slow. I'm going to change it a little bit so it's a bit faster, but not too fast. We don't want this to be too fast. There we go. I think that this is good. Alright, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's time to change the background. We're going to make everything brighter and the shadows more exaggerated. So I'm going to up the contrast, saturation, vibrance, highlights, and finally the shadows. So now you can see a very bright background and a very dark shadow. And now we've added that into the project. That's the next layer we're going to use. So, overlay filter. Actually, I'm not going to use overlay. Made it fill the screen though. We at least have that. We're also going to mirror it because I didn't like the direction he walked in, so I decided to change it. And multiply. That's a better filter, I think. Yeah, that way you at least get the more of the blue background. We're going to trim it so it's the length of the MLG Dude clip. Now you have the logo and the MLG Dude animating simultaneously. For the final touch, I have this haze that I chose. This little like bluish haze that I found off of YouTube. I wish I could still find the link to it. But either way, we're going to put this in over to create an effect. I have a screen filter. Actually, you know what? I think lighten's a better filter. Yeah. I'm gonna up the saturation. And you know what? Overlay is a better filter. Yeah, there we go. Again, we want to exaggerate the colors, and I think this really exemplifies how you exaggerate color. Yeah, this is pretty good. I think I nailed this part. Yep, we have part 1 finished. So now I'm in the app Pick, Play, Post. You can use this app to grab access to videos as long as they're under 3 minutes. I often grab some access to my videos from there just in case I want to use clips. This is a promo I used for my channel a while ago, but I do have some interesting shots of me working on my video important areas. So I'm going to grab them and use them for the intro as clips. Next order of business is I'm going to show you how I got some of these random backgrounds that I use for my channel intro. I have a shot of the gloves, which I had from last video. It was the shot I did of showing MLG Dude the gloves. I put a blur effect over them so they are blended in the background. And now you can see I have part of my Microsoft Word document on there. This applied to 5 different clips, but this is the first one we're gonna edit with the filters around it. This is a hazy background. I am sizing up so you can see what colors we're gonna use. We're going to go over to where it's green, so we just have the one color of green. We're going to overlay filter. Once we've gotten that out of the way, it's time to use the other filters. Use the adjustments. Let's see, what are we going to use? Brightness. Yes, brightness of 42. Contrast will go all the way up to 100. Saturation will be at 67. Yeah, I like it. I like the vibrant colors. This next one's a shot I grabbed of my phone from another video. It was actually the first unboxing video I did. We're going to use the sample blue background, and we're going to up the contrast and saturation, hit overlay, and you've got that over everything else. So here is the next one we're going to use. It's another hazy background, but this one's more rainbow colored. This one, we're just going to keep it as it is. We're going to trim it down a little bit first, move it over so it fills the background and whole, and then we are going to go do some blending. I think I'm going to choose overlay for this one. Yeah, overlay looks okay. Nothing too wrong about it, but let's see what hard light does. Ooh, hard light, you get even more of the colors. And now, once again, we're going to adjust some of them, maybe play a little bit with the contrast. Yeah, not too much contrast. We don't really want to have as much light in this one. Definitely we want a lot of saturation, though. You can see it has mostly an orangey color, and orange is part of my channel's color scheme, so that makes sense. And just we add a bit more light in this. We're going to maybe play around with the positioning of it, too, so that way you get more light. Yeah, I think that works. For this one, as you can see, I've added in another haze filter. This one's the darker one that I've shown you before. I've overlaid it. Next, we're going to add a B12 filter. This one has mostly orange and purple as the main colors, which is something I definitely love about this filter. We're going to adjust the brightness a little bit, maybe shrink it down just by a few numbers. We're going to get rid of the contrast entirely, but we are going to also upgrade some of the saturation, the vibrance, and anything else. Temperature. Yeah, we'll just maybe use a smidge on the temperature and the highlights too. There we go. Yes, that looks pretty good. I do need to trim down a few things, but yeah, this is a good filter. For the last one, this filter we're going to use over this one is just a random flashing background. This is not a fast spreading seizure inducing one. This is just a light flash one that I also liked. Found that off of YouTube. Gonna add a bit of a color over it, a flat color. I'm gonna maybe choose green for this one. Let's see how green looks. Soft light filter. Yeah, the green looks pretty good. Now this is probably the most frustrating part about the project, is putting all the clips together so you get that panning effect, which you've seen again in the other intro. I'm just playing around a bit more with the second clip because I didn't really like the colors. I wanted to make them a bit more exaggerated. Plus, we're also going to reverse it because I didn't really like the effect that it gave me at first. So let's see how it looks when it's reversed. Yeah, the colors are a bit more vibrant. Now we've added in the green background. That's the next one we're going to use, positioning it so it lines up with the other two. And I think I'm going to adjust the colors on this one too, because again, especially in this guy's world, vibrance is key. You need to have vibrant colors in your projects. That way it makes your eyes pop off. Now I've added in the orange one. I'm not really going to change the colors because I really do like that one. And finally the blue one, the one with the phone, as I call it. Yeah, I'd say that those 5 all work together. Actually, I am going to update the orange one just a smidge, upgrade the saturation. First one, I'm upping the saturation entirely. The last one, I'm not going to shrink the contrast that much. Vibrance, yeah, I've upgraded the vibrance a little bit. There. And once again, I'm going to play around with the green one just to make it brighter. It's a little too bright, actually. Yeah, that's better. That's a lot better. So another thing I did to the green one was I adjusted the hue a little bit so it was a bit bluer. And for the orange one, I adjusted it too. Alright, I like it. So now I'm going to do the panning tool. I used a Ken Burns effect. I assigned a spot for it to start in the sequence. So once I've zoomed it in, I was able to get it just on the slides and not on the blue background, holding everything, and I got it to pan over to the shot of the phone. And now you're kind of seeing some familiarity. So here I'm just doing a few minor touch-ups. I shrunk the temperature down to -30, and now I'm going to go upgrade the contrast to 41, and that looks a bit snazzier. So now here are some of the shots I collected from Pick Play Post earlier in the video. I'm trimming down the one scene of me at the phone, so it's just that, because you can see some of the other clips I interlaced with it. Yeah, we're just getting it to the length of this shot. We're going to slow it down so it's a bit longer. There we go. That's about enough time. So here's the shots of me pressing on the YouTube upload buttons. We're trimming those down too. That way they're at the same length. Gonna slow them down. And that way they are assigned with the shot of me at the camera. And let's see how they all look with a transition in the middle. So they fade to each other. Awesome. Shrink this down a little bit more. Same with that one. Yeah, that's awesome. So now I'm adding it into the panning shot. We're going to use a lighten filter over everything. I like it, but this one was definitely the most trouble I had to go through with trying to model everything and, again, like, play around with different filters and see what stuck. I had trouble wondering if the lighten filter was going to work. Alright, so far so good. Gonna add in a fade in as well, so this is gonna fade in when the panning starts. It's gonna start from here, and then the shot of me is gonna fade in. And actually I don't like where I am at the beginning because you can't see my face because of the bright lights in the graphics. So I might have to move the clip of me, I don't know yet. So you're probably wondering how I got this interesting screen holding my logo. Well, it was a Photoshop creation I did where I warped a computer screen to the side with my logo on it using one of their warp tools, and eventually I was able to erase the white background around it. So now you have a computer screen with my channel logo. We're going to put this on over the backgrounds as well, just as a added feature. I have 3 of them. We're going to position them evenly below each other. This one's really hard because KineMaster is pretty much a free-for-all. So wherever it just lets you move things anywhere else. It doesn't have you move things like so they're completely modeled up with everything else, which I think is really annoying. And of course I want to have even space between these, and it doesn't seem like it's working, so I might have to shrink a few things. Or maybe I should just move that up. Yeah, I think they're a little too close. So after doing a lot of playing around, I ended up finding something that would stick. Now we can have them fade in and out sequentially. You gotta apply the fade in and out effects at both ends of the media you've added in. And then we gotta shrink them down too, so that way they will play sequentially. Alright, well, man, we are 14 minutes in. Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, this is the shot of my channel logo that I've shown you in the previous video. As you can see, I filtered it. And now I'm going to adjust a little bit of the brightness, up the contrast and saturation, and maybe shrink the temperature down a little bit, and finally up the shadows. So we've taken care of that. Next order of business is we're going to add a blur effect over it. Make it a bit blurry. I'm gonna maybe use about like a 5 or a 7. Yeah, don't want to blur too much. I don't want the whole thing to be blurred. We're going to fade the blur in as soon as we transition from the intro. Want to get it so the whole thing's blurred. And I'd say that's good enough. That's a great transition if you ask me. So this is a pan out shot of the camera lens. I did some zooming in so it zooms out from the lens using, once again, KineMaster filters. Now we're going to add that into the project. Take it up full screen, and we're going to use a chroma key. I use it for the green screen shots often. Before we get to the chroma key, though, I'm going to once again use a filter. KineMaster has dozens of filters to choose from, like even more than dozens. They have that much. I've upped the contrast and saturation, and now we're going to find a filter that sticks. I think overlay is a good filter. Yeah, it's just a little green. The background's a little green. I might want to change that. Alright, so now we've moved the camera over to the scene where it fades from the intro background to the channel logo, and now I'm just playing around with the hue so I get the right color. I really think I nailed this portion of the project. I didn't even need to chroma key it, actually. I was able to keep the green screen background in the shot. And we're going to duplicate it so the lens is a bit more prominent in the transitional shot. We're not going to have it over the whole thing, but yeah, there you go. It's going to fade in over the intro, and it's going to transition into the channel logo. Brilliant. Now we're going to add in the time-lapse background. We're going to screen filter it, and then we are going to, once again, add a filter, shrink the contrast down, and up the saturation. And actually, we're going to take it off of full screen because we are going to mask it. You can mask things into shapes too. Yeah, this shape's pretty cool. And once I've made the shape I wanted, we're going to add a lot of feathers so it's blurred. And there you go, right over the camera lens. We have some magic happening. And we're going to have this fade in, maybe make it a bit larger. There we go. So now we've added in the hazy background. We're going to flip it over, and we are going to find a filter that will stick for this. I originally stuck with Lighten, but it took dozens of tries before I could eventually come up with a filter that stuck. I found the screen filter to be too bright, so yeah, basically all this was me messing around with filters. Okay, so I ended up sticking with the Lighten filter, and now we have a pretty good transition. So once we got the background figured out, we are going to add in the channel logo animation, which I did in Intro Mate. This is the ray of light that reveals my channel logo that was done in Intro Mate. Has the green background because we are going to chroma key it. First, we're going to use a scale down effect, so that's how it gets revealed. We're going to chroma key enable, and we're going to adjust it so my channel logo can be seen better. And we're going to fix the contrast a little bit, and we have my channel logo. So now I have found a white background, and as you can see, I am cropping it. We are going to now mask it. We're going to keep the square shape for the mask, and we're going to use 25 for the feather, so that way the edges are blurred. So now I've gotten it at a good position below my channel logo. We are going to have it fade in and out like everything else. Yeah, a lot of this was a lot of fading in and out and stuff like that. Now I'm typing in the YouTube specialist slogan. And, typo on the uppercase A there. And they usually go with a default Helvetica font, and they usually make it white, but I just changed the color to black, and now I'm going to use Apple Color Emoji. That's the font that I use for some of my channel graphics. We're going to shrink it down so it's at a good size. And I'd say we now have that completed too. At the bottom of the screen of the intro's Endcap, I am going to add in some social media icons. I'm trying to find one of YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram together, but I'm not really finding any luck, so I'm going to have to do some digging. So I ended up sticking with this one, and we are going to do some extensive cropping. So once again, we're going to use the crop tool, if I can ever get to it. Actually, first we're going to use the darken tool, and then we're going to get to the cropping. First we got to make it small, and we're going to do it so we only have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to shrink them down below the logo, and going to duplicate it because we're going to get the Snapchat logo. That's the next thing we're going to grab. And I don't know why they didn't put the Snapchat logo next to them, but hey, I can't control how they make these images. Alright, the Snapchat logo's now cropped. We're going to put this next to the other icons. And I actually don't really like them with the black color. And here's the finished product. This is what it looks like now. I actually uploaded it to the channel, but now I have also tinted the social media icons in white. And that's about it. It's a rather long tutorial, but again, I have some timestamps in the video so you can skim through and watch them at those timestamps. So yeah, that's just how I put the intro together, and from there we are going to continue making some upgrades. So really liking some of the progress I've been making so far. And thank you for watching.